Good morning, good evening, dear speaker, moderator, and our audience. Welcome to our GAMPER Webinar series. Now, I would like to introduce our today's moderator. Today's moderator is Dr. Samuel Meng, and Lian is a medical physicist with experience in radiology and nuclear medicine. He is a radiations Hello, sorry. He served as a co-radiation safety officer at Chiang Mai Chiang General Hospital, as a role he had held since April 2024. Dr. Liang obtained his PhD in medical physics from National Tsinghua University, Taiwan in 2023, with specialization in radiation dosimetry, occupational radiation protection, particularly in fluoroscopy-guided interventional procedure. His research focused on reducing radiation exposure to the eye lens through advanced techniques such as Monte Carlo simulation and solid-state detector measurement. Dr. Lian has also presented his research at international conference and experienced mentoring students in both academic and clinical settings. His professional interests include diagnostic radiology physics, radiation protection, and imaging protocol optimizations. Now, I would like to request to Dr. Lian to moderate this session.
Okay. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Samuel Lian from China General Hospital, Singapore. So welcome everybody to join the webinar today on methodology to manuscript, how to publish impactful clinical research, shared by Dr. Rong. And Dr. Rong is a professor and clinical medical physicist in the Department of Radiation Oncology at Mayo Clinic, USA. Her expertise spans radiotherapy workflow optimization and the application of automation and artificial intelligence to improve efficiency, accuracy, and standardization, with a strong focus on the development and clinical implementation of tools that advance patient care and treatment precision. Dr. Rong has more than 120 journal publications and multiple book chapters. She's now serving as the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Applied Clinical Medical Physicists. And the stage is yours, Prof. Rong.
Thank you. So it's really my great pleasure to be invited to such an international platform. Let me share my screen for the presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. So for interruption. So after the presentation by Prof. Rong, we will have around 10 minutes for the Q&A. So during the presentation, if you have any questions, please keep into the chat box. Prof. Rong, time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see you.
Yeah, and feel free to interrupt me anytime. I'm not able to see the audience list. I can only see my screen. So yeah, just verbally interrupt me if there are any questions or anything you want to mention. So today my talk is on how to publish impactful clinical research. So my talk will be focusing on 3 areas. First is understand the journal.
You know, by the time you person just avoid problem.
The best thing without
It be problem, and I want to avoid that.
Second is to identify studies that are publishable clinical research. And third is other publishable articles and understand the journal submission guidelines. So first, I will start with the first area. Because I am the editor-in-chief of JACMP, so the talk will be focusing on the scope, mission, and article types of JACMP. Yeah, so the first thing I want to mention is the different scope between the JACMP and medical physics. As you know, FAAPM has these 2 flagship journals that many medical physicists submit their articles to. So first thing I want to mention is how they have different scopes, and then so that you know which journal to submit to when you have an article ready. Medical physics focus more on the research clinical, will focus more on the research science part. So based on their website, it states that it's publishing research scientific innovation. For JACMP, we focus more on clinical innovation, clinical practice, patient care, education, and medical physics as a profession. So this journal, JACMP, we welcome papers that covers a big range of the clinical applications, such as technical developments, educational guidelines, global outreach, professional visions, that all these topics that can advance the practice of medical physics in radiation oncology, diagnostic imaging, interventional radiology, health physics, or nuclear medicine, or other related disciplines. So I want to start with the vision and mission of the JACMP journal. We will focus on these 5 areas: publication excellence, clinical importance, education and profession, visibility, outreach, global engagement. In terms of publication excellence, the editorial team will be very highly focused on the methodology rigor, the data process, data collection process that's shown on the paper, and will focus on ensuring clear reporting standards. Second, the editorial team will welcome any papers that has clinical importance, such as workflow optimization and guidelines, implementation guidance, patient care improvement, etc. So here, just give you some example. We'll elaborate further later. Also, we welcome papers that talk about education and improvement for the profession. For example, training resources, professional development, and education method or mentorship methods. Fourth, we will have try to promote articles, promote authors, and then therefore we can promote journals. And we'll try to improve community engagement. For example, announce any new initiatives on our social media account. And because journal is currently an open access journal, so they actually can attract more readers across the globe. Also, global engagement is very important. We'll try to initiate international collaboration, such as different society, medical physics society in the world, and we'll try to improve worldwide clinical relevance, and we'll have special issues, and we'll have calls for papers later on. So all these 5 areas, if we try to improve all of them, will therefore improve journal's overall impact. So we have put together a very diverse journal editorial team that is for journal operation. So because the journal's mission is to improve overall global impact and become a global leader in medical physics publishing area, we focus on having a very diverse section editor team. And then you can see from this list that they are from different specialty, and then they also have different background, and they are from different geographic locations. So this is our main editorial leadership team for the journal operation. Of course, we have a very strong associate editor team and a large pool of reviewers. And the associate editor and reviewers are the key elements that ensure the quality of each paper that got submitted or accepted to the journal. So we have associate editors and large pool of reviewers around the world. And because journal, JACMP is a double-blinded peer-review journal, meaning that the reviewers are blinded to the author's identity, and then vice versa. So this review process is fair and bias-free. And we try to provide an award recognition process for our associate editor and reviewers, and then they also receive GAMPER credit for reviewing articles. so that we all not only just use their time, we also have some mechanism to award them back. We have now put together a team of department editors. As section editors are mostly in charge of their day-to-day journal operation, and department editors are a different team that can focus on different new initiatives for the journal. For example, we will have more social media announcements for our monthly notable articles, and we will have APM award selection for top four papers published on a JACMP every year, and we'll have a return initiative of video abstract for our journal. So that means that each week we will feature an article using the video abstract. The very special initiative of JCMP is a parallel post debate. So we've been having this editorial series for over 10 years. I used to run this debate. Now I'm passing this responsibility to another 2 department editors. And other initiatives such as spotlighting editors and reviewers, newsletter interviews, and we'll have award certificate of excellence for reviewers and associate editors. We'll have more social media promotions. All these new initiatives, it will be carried out by our department editors. Also, JCMP will, in addition to the regular clinical research publications, we will have different article types, and I will give you a list of different article types in my next several slides. But these different types will be reviewed and monitored by our department editor, such as we welcome papers for clinical trial insights and patient-centered studies. We'll welcome papers on education articles, review articles, APM reports, practical consensus, social special reports, and additionally, we will welcome papers on industry innovations, grand challenges, or any papers that talk about global perspectives. For example, how physicist operation is different in your country compared to United States or Canada or European. We welcome these kind of special perspectives in a global view. Also, we welcome professional topics. So these unique article type will be managed by our department editor as well. So let's see the journal's peer review process. First, authors submit a paper, and journal will conduct a quality check. And then after the paper passed the quality check, it will come to me as the editor-in-chief, and I will review the article and then see which area it fits into which section editor. And I will assign the article to a section editor. Once it passed section editor's review, section editor will find an associate editor to further conduct the peer review process by inviting 2 or 3 reviewers to provide comments for the article. So the first step of evaluation is at my level. I normally evaluate paper scope and quality, and I will ensure that only the paper that fits within the scope of JCMP and have a sufficient quality of publication that will pass my review. So this process will filter out any out-of-scope paper or paper that has very limited value or limited clinical impact. When the paper gets to section editor and associate editor will conduct a second layer of evaluation. This evaluation will see that if the paper actually have a potential for publication. They will filter out the papers that need significant amount of work that will reach a publishable status. Only those papers that have potential will go to peer review. So this way, peer reviewers will have less burden to go through every paper, right? The peer reviewers can focus on help those papers that have potential and reach the acceptable publication status. So the reviewers, they focus on papers with high impact and high potential, and their job is to provide constructive comments and then to help authors reach acceptance. And those major comments actually will help improve the overall quality of the study and the manuscript. And then they will also provide specific comments to improve manuscript writing and then presentation of the study. So this process, the peer review process, is not just to judge the paper itself or evaluate the paper. It's actually a process that we are helping authors to reach a publishable status. So these are the types of articles that JACMP will receive. And this contents, these tables have not been published on the website yet, and it will be there soon. I'm still in the process of, improving author guidelines, improving reviewer, associate editor guidelines, also improving the guidelines of different types of articles, etc. So we have the main article type are research articles and technical notes. Historically, on the JACMP website, the definition of these two types are not very clearly presented. Therefore, what I see is that most of the studies that got submitted to the journal all actually go to research article. So I hope to give a very clear guideline of how you pick the different type. The research article will include different subspecialties such as radiation oncology physics, diagnostic imaging physics, nuclear medicine, radiopharmaceutical, radiation protection, measurements, regulations. And now we have some new article type, subspecialties such as clinical trial insights. So what we hope to see is that physics can actually go analyze clinical trial data and then provide some secondary analysis of data that focus on physics perspectives. Give you an example, there is a clinical trial that look into the improvement of reduced margin for prostate treatment using MR-Linac and compared to regular combine CT-based Linac. So the physics actually use the data from MR-Linac to show that on day-to-day, the prostate not only have a XYZ shift, it also have deformation in the shape. These kind of, data is very, very valuable and from the MR-Linac arm. So you can see the prostate shape day by day based on the MR scans of those prostate patients. So physics actually went in and used that study to publish a separate paper other than the main paper of the clinical trial. So I really want to encourage submission of those kind of secondary analysis of clinical trials. We also welcome papers on management profession, also education research. On the technical note side, these will be relatively shorter papers. And for example, we want to see clinical pearls, meaning that if you have a very unique way of doing things in a clinic, you can actually put it together as a technical note. A technical note can be around, the word limit can be 3,000, roughly 3,000 words. So it will be a very a short paper compared to the research article, but it can be a very focused, paper regarding a specific clinical issues or clinical problems. We also welcome patient-centered, a clinical study that actually improves the life of patients. You can put that into a paper and then focus on how patients' life or health is improved by your method or your the improvement of workflow, for example. We also hope to have more industry innovations. We know that the medical physics we are using a lot of commercial products, and these commercial products sometimes have their white papers. And those white papers are currently published only on the company's website. And I really hope that the company will put that together as a technical note and then submit to JACMP. That way, JACMP can be a repository of those white papers of the new product from the industry. We also welcome education methods. So it's a paper talk about how you teach your student or how you teach your residents. And if you have a very unique method to teach your students, then why not put that into a technical note? Global perspectives. Like I mentioned previously, physicists around the world, we probably do things slightly different way, or or in a way of big difference. I would like to see those papers that coming from around the world that talk about the uniqueness of your profession in your country. Also, we welcome topics on the profession. For example, we welcome topics talk about diversity. We talk about disabilities, or we welcome papers that talk about how the medical physics lives are in the country, and how they interact with other professions. For example, in United States, we have physicists and dosimetrists that collaborate together, and dosimetrists are doing the treatment planning. And I know that the profession of dosimetry may not be existing in other countries, and how the centers in your country perform these jobs differently. So we welcome those kind of papers as well. There are other types of articles, for example, case report. Case report can be a very short report that talks about a single case, instead of, in previously other studies, like research articles may require you to have a large number of study subjects in your paper. A case report can be just 1 to 3 cases that focus on a very rare scenarios. For example, how you design a treatment method or shielding method for pregnant women, stuff like that. Very focused, specific technique on a rare case. We also welcome review and consensus articles. So JACMP has a way for you to submit a proposal for review articles. Once your proposal is approved, then you can proceed to submit a review article. So we're in the process of improving the guideline of submitting those proposals. So we require authors to have demonstrated the background and specialty in the topic area they want to write a review article on. AAPM reports, these are specifically papers coming from AAPM task groups or MPPG. And then we also welcome special reports, data set and software articles. So this type, data set and software article type, is a very underutilized type, in my opinion. So, in nowadays, we're in an AI era, and we really need a public data set to help researchers to improve their study. So from your center, if you can put together a data set with a certain uniqueness, with certain follow-up data, you can put that into a data set article, that the article just talk about how you collect the data and how they are, unique, and how you where you have open source and access for these data. Another article type is software article. So if you have a in-house developed software or script that is very helpful in your clinic, that helps streamline some kind of workflow, you could actually put that into a paper and publish as a software article. So we'll soon publish all these guidelines on our website to talk about how you can actually put together articles for different types. So additional type would be debate editorials and commentaries. So if you have any short opinion about any topic, feel free to submit to me, editor-in-chief, and we can, depending on the importance of the topic, we could put that in a commentary. Another thing I want to mention is that JACMP has to work with the publisher Wiley, and Wiley actually have a agreement statement with many, like hundreds of institutions worldwide. And if you are on the list of this agreement institution, you don't have to pay a publication fee. So I encourage you to go to the Wiley website and find this open access accounts of institutions and see if your institution is on this list. If you are, then your publication fee will be waived. So very important information here. So I did a study of what has been the submission article type in the past several years. What I've noticed is that we have a very strong submission for external beam radiotherapy, and we are really hoping that we can increase submissions from other topics such as particle beam therapy, brachytherapy, diagnostic imaging, radiopharmaceutical, health physics, nuclear medicine, global perspective, etc. We also welcome submission to those new categories that I just talked about. So I will move on to the second area of the talk, which is how to identify studies that are publishable clinical research. So first of all, you need to understand what the journal wants, right? So from those article types that I mentioned, then you could actually pick one of the type and then see if any studies or project that you're doing can actually fit those type. I mentioned briefly of the how EIC and section editor evaluate a study. I want to go a little bit of detail into it. For example, if it's a study of an existing software or hardware, that's our day-to-day job as a physicist, is to evaluate or implement a commercial software. So if you describe this process into a paper, we will evaluate whether the submission provides any new information that has not been covered in literature. If there's new information, yes, it will get into a peer review process. If there's no information, we will see if the sub-study is sufficiently comprehensive to serve as a one-stop shop, that all the other readers, they don't go to other papers, they come to this paper, then yeah, we will still send that to a peer review. So if not a comprehensive study, then we will evaluate whether the paper has potential or it's require a small improvement to reach a publishable status. If still not, then we will reject the paper, reject the paper before peer review. So with that in mind, let's look at our day-to-day work as a physicist. We normally in the clinic, we have an idea, we have a pain point, or we receive a new product, and then we do our physicist thing, and then we make implement the technology. We implement a treatment option, or maybe a well-designed new workflow. So in this process of our day-to-day job, how do we make any of the process publishable? So in a clinical environment, we have access to new technology, new innovation, new workflow, and we also work with physicists, physicians, therapists, dosimetrists, and we normally go through these different phases of any new stuff that comes to us. For example, phase 1, we learn and plan. Phase 2, we do the commissioning, testing, or dry run for the product. Phase 3, we have group discussions with other professions, so that we ensure a smooth clinical workflow. And phase 4, we address those concerns from other professionals to solve the problem. Phase 5, we document the process and implement the new technology. And the most difficult part is how do we reach phase 6, and that is to publish a paper about what we did. And I want to mention that there are 3 very important aspects to think about before you start writing. Is this a topic that you want to publish? Does it serve clinical care? Does it provide information for a knowledge gap? Or is it generalizable so that other authors, the readers of the paper, of the journal, can also benefit? So 3 very important aspects to think about. Clinical impact, clinical usefulness, new information field for a knowledge gap, and generalizability. So for the to elaborate on these 3, we normally start to think as we are writing an abstract. Abstract have 5 elements: background, purpose, material and methods, results, and conclusion. So you really benefit from start thinking about this 5 elements before you start writing. In terms of background, you first need to review the literature and understand what has already been studied and published, and what is the current knowledge gap. Does your study fill that knowledge gap? And so then now next is purpose. So once you define a knowledge gap, you say my study that I want to publish actually can be a generalizable study that describe a unique or a clinical relevant topic that actually help broader clinical audience. And then you design the methods or design the study process to address the knowledge gap or address the study goal, and hope to achieve results that can support the hypothesis or support the conclusion that you want to draw. So these are the 5 basic elements for you to think about before you start writing. Let me give you an example. Our clinic, I'm in a therapy clinic. So we start from a clinical pain point, which is like years ago, we are still using conventional combine CT, and the therapists still using bony anatomy matching. And we bought a new license called iterative combine CT, which is a new reconstruction algorithm that is on TrueBeam. So physics implement this, work with the engineer to install the software, commission the software, and then set up routine QA, finish their commission report. So any of this are probably not a publishable event. And then later we work with the dosimetrist therapists to design imaging protocols, parameters of different disease sites using this new combine CT. And we work with a physician to standardize a new IGRT protocol for soft tissue matching. And then next question that comes from dosimetry and therapists is, now that we have such a great quality of combine CT, can we use it for day-to-day dose verification? So that means we want to calculate dose on the daily combine CT. So now this comes a new clinical need, which is to commission the combine CT for dose calculation, and we also hope to build this in-house script to automate the process for dosimetrists. So in this process, you can then we realize this new software of a new reconstruction algorithm for iterative combine CT is so new, and it has not been published before on literature, whether it can be used for dose calculation and how accurate it is for dose calculation. So that actually is a publishable topic. But how do we design the study to make it into a publication? We then think about what's the study purpose. We want to perform a comprehensive characterization of the combine CT for dose calculation, accuracy evaluation for various disease sites. So we want it to be so comprehensive that everybody just come to this paper instead of reading other papers. So we designed the material method focusing on this purpose. and we picked various phantoms, and phantoms that quantify the image quality, and we also have phantoms that are representative of different disease, so that we can use that for those calculations. Then we present the data in a very clear and concise way to each figure or each table. Will elaborate a point that we want to present. And then the final conclusion actually supports our hypothesis that because of improved image quality, the iCombi-CT actually can be used for those calculations with a very high accuracy. So you can find this paper on Medical Physics Journal that was published 4 years ago. So that's an example how you turn a implementation study into a publishable paper. Second example I want to mention is a workflow of optimization effort. So our clinic has both proton clinic and photon clinic. And there was an event years ago that all proton gantry went down. So without a well thought of process, it started as a very chaotic situation. So as you can see from this figure down here, the proton down event, when it happened without any well thought of process, it actually took 2 days for the clinic to react, and it made all physics and dosimetry work over hours overnight to replan almost 35 patients just so that they can be treated on photon clinic and without too much of interruption of their treatment process. And then by the time we finish replanning, the proton gantry is up running, and so and only 5 plans were used. So all the other 30 plans were actually wasted. So this is a very chaotic, not planned process. So when I saw that, I said, hey, we could really think about how to make a tier system to define which patients need to get replanned sooner and which patients can wait 1 or 2 days, or etc. So based on the possible waiting days, allowed wait days for each patient, we define their tiers. For example, pediatric patients or patients that needs chemotherapy, concurrent chemotherapy, they don't have too much room to have a break. So those patients will be on tier 1 or tier 2. And then the other patients, such as prostate patients or breast cancer patients, they can actually wait a little longer than 2 or 3 days. So they will put in a tier 3 or tier 4 for replanning. So next time when the proton down happen again, we have a very thought of process. Dosimetry and physics only start replanning for those tier 0 or tier 1 patients. And when by the time the proton is up running, and there were only 4 plans were replanned and treated on photon, and there was no waste of energy or time on dosimetry or physics. So nobody need to work overnight to get to a replan for everyone. So do you think so this process, if you look in the literature, it has never been published before. Although it's a very rare event, it may not help many other clinics, but it is such a unique experience, and it's actually publishable. So then again, we look at the 5 elements. Background, it's no paper reported a proton downtime workflow optimization or management. And the purpose is to present our optimized workflow or tier system so that other proton clinics can also benefit. And then we describe this management details, the tier system, and then replan standardization process in the material method. And the results actually, we show that how much improvement we achieve through this optimized workflow. So this paper is published on Pro Journal, and it's a very unique workflow management paper. Other than those typical clinical studies. The third example I want to mention is regarding the deep learning-based auto-segmentation tools. As you probably know, the AI tools has been in the field for probably 6-7 years, and in this process, what are publishable are actually different on a different phase. During the early phase, when deep learning auto-segmentation tool is still being developed in a lab environment, it's not commercialized yet. So in the research aspect, it is very new to build a deep learning network that can do auto-segmentation. So in that phase, any paper that talk about the new network and then evaluate the clinical benefit or compare with the old methods are publishable. And then after that phase, we have more and more commercial software coming out that can do auto-segmentation. So in this phase, we are focusing on the clinical testing of the commercial software. We're focusing on physician feedback and focusing on different performance of different disease sites. So in this phase, those years, anything that evaluate a user experience, physician feedback, those are publishable because they're very clinical relevant. And then later on, when the use of commercial software for auto-segmentation becomes such a wide adoption in the clinic, what becomes publishable are how you monitor the performance of these AI tools, how you design methods to detect those errors that made by AI tools, right? So now the publishable paper becomes the error detection, quality control, or a performance monitoring for those AI tools that have been put into clinical use. So the same concept, but different phases. The publishable topics may be different. You just have to read a lot of literature and see where the trend is. Finally, the third point is about other publishable articles and submission guidelines. As I mentioned previously, not just a clinical study that is publishable. There are many other topics that you can think about, such as aspects in education training, how you simulate a training environment that benefit residency or students, for example. Or we welcome global perspectives, how physics provide clinical service in those low resource regions. And we also have articles that focus on medical physics profession and talk about workforce development, career pathway, and the resource management, etc. We also welcome papers on management operation, how you calculate a FTE, and how do you optimize resource and staffing, and also safety culture, incident learning. Those are good topics too. And so these other information that you will soon see on the website as well in terms of review guideline or author guidelines. So when you are writing the paper, make sure that you go through these guidelines on the journal, follow these submission requirements. There are requirements on the cover letter, title page, abstract, keywords, and the AI use. So I want to mention specifically about the use of AI. For authors, you are allowed to use AI, but you need to disclose it. You can use AI to polish the English, or you can use AI to help you improve the image or table. But my advice is that try as much as possible to use real picture. We've seen a paper that submitted to us that has all images that created by AI that really creates it's not a good impression on the editorial team. On the reviewer side, we are strictly prohibited to enter the manuscript into a large language model for review purpose. So all the reviews has to be entered manually, and it cannot be a AI generated review comments. So I spent a lot of time reading every comments from the reviewer, and to make sure that they do not appear to be coming from a large language model. So also very important to know that there are specific structure requirements for different article types. That you can also see this instruction on our JACMP website. So when the abstract, when the manuscript is submitted to the journal has to perform a quality check. So if you have missed any of those required points, your paper can be returned and to fix those issues. So that can make your submission process longer. So being very mindful to follow the paper, the journal instruction. Some very common mistake that we see is that, for example, missing line numbers, missing page numbers, or the information on the main text is not anonymized. So author's name or affiliation appear on the main text. We will return those articles for revision. Also, or for example, abstract is not structured according to the requirement, or the title page does not include all the required information, etc. So just make sure you follow the exact requirements before you submit your files. There are other new initiatives on the way for the journal. We'll soon have different special issues, and we'll have calls for papers. We will have more collaboration with different organizations. If they have a meeting, we will try to work with them to encourage submission from that meeting to our journal. So, that's all from me today. So you please follow our website, jacmp.org, to see new initiatives or new guidelines. I will also publish my editorials to talk about those new initiatives. And you can also follow my LinkedIn account for any new information. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Long, for very comprehensive introduction to the whole publication journey. Okay, so I have a question because my background is a diagnostic radiology. So if I have something related to diagnostic radiology, is it proper for me to submit the related manuscript to your established journal?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can see that our deputy editor-in-chief, Ingrid, Dr. Ingrid Reiser, she is from radiology department. So there's we have a very strong focus on the diagnostic side as well. So I'm from therapy side, and our deputy editor-in-chief is from the diagnostic side. And we have many other associate editors that are from diagnostic side as well. So yes.
Okay, thank you. So I think this one also addressed one of the speaker's question, because I think this speaker is also come from diagnostic radiology. Okay, so another question from the host is, what is the advice do you have for researchers in LMICs where the formal IRB processes may be limited? The low and middle income countries.
The formal IRB process is limited for any patient-related studies. So first of all, our journal used to not require IRB numbers. You just need to disclose that any of your local related institution in terms of ethics has approved your study. IRB probably is a thing that in the United States. So so just disclose any approval from your local institution that's required for a patient study.
Okay. And another question comes from, I think, from certain countries. Can you please advise any alternatives beyond the clinical data-based medical physics research? Because in certain countries, it's very crucial it's very limited in resource access.
So can you elaborate on the question? How to conduct a study that is resource limited?
in certain countries that the resource is not very accessible. Yeah, so any research beyond the clinical data-based medical physics research. I think previously you mentioned about like
Yeah.
optimization, right?
Right. Yeah, like workflow optimization or any unique restriction or uniqueness in your country or in your clinic. We could talk about put that in a for example, a technical note or a short commentary. Or if it's facing any limited education resource in your country, I would say that would be a great topic as well, right? In terms of education or profession. So yeah, if you think about the scope of JACMP, it is really beyond clinical studies. It welcome any papers regarding education, profession, workforce management. Those kind of topics we are interested too.
Thank you. And I think it's a very interesting question from audience. He or she is very interested in the contributing to your publishing activity. So could you please share more details about the eligibility criteria and requirements, such as academic qualification, technical skills, language expectations, and time commitment? Because this audience is from Egypt, and he said he encounters a certain limitation in resources and hope there could be the flexible and the remote collaboration with your journal.
Yeah, anyone can join our reviewer pool. I think our author will automatically becomes a reviewer for our journal. As associate editor, we are mostly from the recommendation of other experts, right? So we focus more on the mid-career experts who have already published a good number of papers. So those people with that experience, they are familiar with the publishing process. They are familiar with the criteria. So some nuance of the criteria is hard to put in a writing. It has to be someone who has gone through this process several times and understand what are the criteria or the quality the JACMP requires. So really, we need someone from more of a mid-career experts.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so join us as a reviewer to begin with.
Okay, due to the time constraint, I propose the last question. So, what are the research trends in medical physics that our top journal are actually looking for?
Sorry, what's the question?
What are the research trends in medical physics the top journal are looking for?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, good question. But I can only answer from the therapy side, right? The trendy topics. Well, of course, on the therapy side, it's some things like AI or adaptive radiotherapy, or spatially fractionated radiotherapy. There are many new topics out there. But JACMP, we are focusing on clinical impact, meaning that you don't need to follow the trend as long, just follow my 3 criteria I mentioned previously, right? Do you have a study that is benefiting for patient care? Is that a new information that filling a knowledge gap? And
generalization, right?
Yeah, third, right, exactly. Generalizability. So we don't want a report that say, oh, here's how I commissioned the tubing, right? The three important factors that you consider. If yes to all 3, then I say it's a good topic to publish.
Okay, thanks for Prof. Rong's very comprehensive elaboration and introduction. So due to the time constraint, I cannot propose any questions. So if you have further questions, you can write in to the email to Prof. Rong or the host. So if you have any have further questions related to the journal, please refer to the JACMP website to have more details.
Yeah, it's coming up. The website takes a very long time. The publisher takes a long time to update the website, so it will be up maybe in a month or so. But some of the details, author guidelines that I mentioned. But the submission. So we have two websites, right? The one is the journal main page, jacmp.org. The other one is the submission website. So when you submit a paper, you will see author guideline and you'll see reviewer guideline in the submission system. So make sure you read those guidelines. Those are updated already.
Okay.
One is
I
on
have
the AAPM, correct?
I'm sorry, what?
I have last questions.
Sure.
Actually, my question is from the lower middle income countries. Actually, many are hesitant to submit their work. And in your experience, what are the most common mistake you see in submitted manuscript, and how can avoid them? Actually, how can authors avoid them?
Yeah, so you saw there is a page that I shared. Let me share it again. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
So when we see some papers coming in, these are the very common mistakes that the authors make. Try to avoid these, because you will receive a return. Your paper will be returned to you to fix any of these issues. So these are the cosmetic issues with the paper. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Professor Rong?
Mm-hmm.
The submission portal, I think one is on the AAPM website. Is that correct? Because I refer to the research.
The website is on. So when you log into JACMP, right, you will see a button called Submit Your Manuscript. You see that?
Okay. Would you please show us how to log into that portal? The website, the main page.
Okay, let me share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
So this is the main website of JCMP. And then you see a submit an article.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go there, this is your portal for submitting an article. If you have not used it before, you need to create an account. Once you create an account and log in, you will see these two tabs for authors and for reviewers. So make sure you read through the guidelines on this tab before you submit.
As you previously mentioned, the formal website will come out soon, right? Because I noticed this website is structured under the AAPM website.
No, this will be like that. Continue to be this way. What I meant is that this website is a little slow. I'm trying to update this author guideline on the main. This is the main website, right? I'm trying to update this author guideline, but it will take a few weeks to allow the publisher to actually update it. But this website is already updated, and you should be able to follow the author guidelines or reviewer guidelines.
Okay, thank you very much for your elaboration.
Yeah, so I'm showing my account, so I have the EIC task. For authors, what you see will be like this: author task, and there is author instruction, and then submit a manuscript. So all you need to do is click submit manuscript, and then follow this step by step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? Or we running out of the time?
Yes, we are out of the time because we have committed. We'll end up the session in by 6:50. Now it's crossed.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this constraint. I need to drive my kids to school at 7.
Okay, thank you very much for your attendance and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rong, and also thank you, Dr. Samuel, for the lovely moderations. It's a very wonderful presentation and wonderful moderation. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.